gone through all 5 steps. Maybe it took you a few tries, or maybe the first time you tried it, you felt like you broke through to that weighty, buried emotion you finally realize you've been carrying your whole life. I hope you go for it. I know it's not easy, but it does work. It breaks through whatever blocks you're holding, not by talking about it, not by figuring it out, but by feeling them, re-experiencing them. So now we're at step 6, and I always want you to do step 6. It's called Lighten Up. Do it after every process that you do, whether it was a successful, great one, or whether it didn't really work, because what it does is move you from being in that dark place that you had to go to opening up to optimism and confidence about where you're going next. So it's called Lighten Up, and I think the best way to lighten up is gratitude. Now, if you have a belief in a higher power and God, it's really effective to say, thank you, God, for leading me to do this work and for all the good that's coming out of it. If you don't have a solid belief like that, then you can thank yourself. Thank yourself. Say, I am so thankful that I had the courage to do this work, to move into it. I'm so thankful. And you will feel lighter. I want to share with you, there's a man in Oregon I was working with just last week, and he had his first successful clearing process after working on this for a couple of weeks. And I wrote down what he said because I was so happy. He said, Pat, I could not believe how good I felt after clearing last week. I was so surprised. I was thinking clearer. I was making better choices. I can see that the sky's the limit. And my wife has been so different. And he started laughing. And I didn't wake up with brain fog like I usually have. I was at a party last week. I had so much fun. It's never been like that for me. So, we really don't know. Once we open up and clear that block, we don't really know if it's because we're acting differently or doing something differently, or if other people are acting differently toward us, like he mentioned about his wife. And it really doesn't matter, does it? The thing is that our energy field has shifted. And so life, let alone people, all of life is going to respond to us differently. And as far as how we're acting, how we're being in the world, we're going to feel like we have more power. We're going to feel clear. We have more psychic energy available to deal with life. I want to read to you from the Clearing Process book. In one of the chapters called How You May Expect to Benefit from the Clearing Process. When you have cleared an old emotion, either of 3 things will happen. 1, the situation that bothered you will change significantly. Or 2, the situation may stay the same, but it won't bother you. You've cleared that feeling. Or 3, you will easily end the situation since you are done with its influence in your life. So we always begin clearing work with a specific situation that brings up tough feelings in us, and then we do the 5 steps to let us take it back to feeling it in childhood, remember? But what we want is for the situation in our current life to shift, and it can shift in any of those 3 ways. I might mention some other benefits. Of course, I've been doing this quite a number of years now, so I hear from many, many people about how their life has changed. It may be that some kind of physical healing takes place. We carry everything in our body, all our emotions. This process does get easier with time. And what happens is, in the beginning, you'll be struggling with how to do the steps and actually forcing yourself to go back to childhood. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. It just becomes something, it becomes your go-to because you know that it works. Another great thing is relationships. Once we start taking responsibility for our own reactions to life, we are no longer going to be blaming our partner, our boss, our friend. We know that it's something in us that we can shift. The other thing I really like is that we begin living more in the present moment with great awareness of how I'm feeling at any one time. That's something that happens gradually over a period of time, but it's kind of cool. If you stay in touch with your in the present feelings, what you will discover is that you're gradually developing confidence in handling whatever comes up in your life. I want you to do whatever it takes to have success in this work. Look at all the videos again. That might be a good idea to catch whatever you missed the first time. Check out the book. Go ahead and get The Clearing Process and the workbook on Amazon. They're very easy reads, and they'll add a lot of other examples for you to see how other people have used it. Read some of the testimonials that are on the website, clearingprocess.com. And if you want to email me, go ahead. Email me at clearingprocess@icloud.com, and I'll answer your questions. If you're not really sure that this is a solid process, do some research. That's what I did when I started using this. I wanted to see, well, what have other people done with these ideas? And I found some wonderful books that supported this whole approach to psychological and emotional healing. I'll just show you quickly. I've always been excited about these books. Alice Miller's book, Banished Knowledge. Of course, she's written lots of books about this. I'll share with you that she was a very famous psychotherapist, I think in the 50s. And then she discovered another book I'm going to show you, and she changed her whole approach. She didn't do talk therapy anymore. She didn't listen to people and try to help them figure out what to do. She went to doing exactly what we're doing in the clearing process. The book she read that changed her life, of course I had to get it, was by Conrad Stettbacker, called Making Sense of Suffering. It's so great for describing this process. And then the first one I ever read, after I'd only been doing this a few years, was a book by John Ruskin. He's written two great books. This one is Deep Clearing. The one I first read, this one's more recent. The first one I read was Emotional Clearing. It was funny. A woman came over to my house one day and she said, "Pat, I found a book that describes exactly what you do." I said, "No, what?" And she gave it to me. She said, "It's Emotional Clearing" by John Ruskin. So I love that one too. The clearing process, though, is different because it actually teaches you an easy to follow 6-step process that works. So it's much more to the point, and that's why I want you to take advantage of that. However you approach it, you're going to have success if you stay with it. And you can use it your whole life. This is a self-therapy. I mean, I'm helping you now. But once you get good at it, you're going to use it whenever a situation comes up in your life that is just making you feel awful and you don't know what to do about it. And you're going to first remind yourself, oh, yeah, that might be something from childhood. And sometimes just remembering that lets the whole situation clear up, lets you know how to handle it. But if it doesn't, then you have to go back and do all 6 steps again. Don't leave out any. Each of these steps is very important, okay? So I have to say, I am very excited that these videos are completed. I'm envisioning so many people finding them and trying them and experiencing the huge life changes that occur after you go inside and tell the truth to yourself about your life. I'd be very glad to hear from you in the comments below. And if you do leave me a message, I want you to imagine me reading it with a big smile and nodding my head and saying, yes. So You looked at the lessons. You're on your path toward living without that old baggage, toward stepping into your joyful, powerful, loving self.